From Wall Street to Main Street, this is LALATE.
It's a big evening of evenings, LA, with incredible details about your fourth stimulus check update of 2021 today. In this recording, we'll be going over the monthly stimulus check and the president calling the vote. The vote is now set for the fourth stimulus to begin the reconciliation voting process. We'll be going over all this breaking news on this evening's broadcast tonight. Then we'll be cutting to fifth stimulus that raises your benefits up a lifetime, and we'll be going over that fifth stimulus check and the incredible breaking news about that benchmark that'll raise your benefits up as high as an additional 10% a lifetime. OMG. Then in the middle of this video, we go over the big money that's landing across the board. Viewers to continue to get it, and today is your opportunity to get it as well. It's a big night. It's a big evening. Let's get to the breaking news starting right now, this moment, direct from Santa Monica, California. It's a beautiful evening, and I'm glad you're joining me. Boy, the weather finally cooled off. It finally cooled off here. I've been telling you, if you hit the like button, the heat wave would go away, and it worked. So keep on hitting that like button because the cool weather came back to Southern California. It was miserable last night and this morning, but finally it has cooled off. How is the weather where you are? And I will hit the like button to hope you have good weather as well for you as well. So jump in the live chat and comment where you're watching from and how's the weather tonight there across the board. In this fourth stimulus check update of 2021, we have incredible great news, and we'll be going over that monthly stimulus check, how much you get in, when you get it, and all the incredible details, and the president calling the vote. We'll be going over all this details in tonight's broadcast. Then we'll be cutting to fifth stimulus that raises your benefits up a lifetime, and the incredible fifth stimulus check, the additional $1 billion given to the program to make sure checks go out on time, and the breaking news from Capitol Hill about this today. Wow. And then we turn to big money across the board that's available for you to get. I'm going to go over all those details, and it's starting right now. But first, this is LALATE, the only 24-hour a day, 7 days a week financial news channel in America. Live in America in the morning and taped in the afternoons. I don't want you to miss a single video across the board, so subscribe. Hit that subscribe button right now. Also, like this video and consider becoming a member. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record in 1 year for a reason. The most comprehensive coverage you're going to get. Hit that subscribe button right now and stay with this video, because right after this video, it sends you automatically into Overnight's Crypto. All right, let's get into the breaking news tonight about that monthly stimulus check by comparing the House bill to the Senate proposal. Let's do it starting right now. The House bill and the Senate proposal, both stimulus checks, both monthly, both reoccurring, but the payouts slightly different. So let's go over how they differ starting right now. House bill provides a stimulus check for the remainder of the pandemic plus 1 year. The Senate bill, on the other hand, provides a stimulus check from July to December. The Senate bill provides a stimulus check of $2,000 the first month, $1,000 thereafter. The Senate bill, on the other hand, the amount monthly is unknown, but word on the street is it's this, OMG. 6 months, $2,000 a month, $12,000 an individual. Or $1,400 a month, 6 months, $80 for $100 an individual. Wow. If you're in the live chat just after 5 o'clock, get ready to vote House or Senate. But before you do, let's look back at something we need to take a look at. This, pandemic plus 1 year. Well, some legislative insiders think that the pandemic may be over. That would mean it would be 12 checks, 12 months, $13,000 compared to this, over 6 months from the Senate Democrats. Okay, get ready to vote right now. Jump into the live chat, Senate or House, which one you like, and tell me where you're tuning in from and how the weather is. I think you have an opinion. Let's go over who gets that fourth stimulus check starting right now. The Democrats want you to have a fourth stimulus check if you had a third stimulus check. So if you're a single individual, $75,000 or less, Democrats would give you a fourth stimulus check. Married couple, $150,000 or less, Democrats would give you a fourth stimulus check, double it. Household, 4 or less, Democrats would give you a fourth stimulus check, quadruple it. And if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, or railroad benefits, Democrats would give you a fourth stimulus check. The fourth stimulus check is not income, so it's not taxable. And the fourth stimulus check would come as a monthly stimulus check. It's not a check that comes in waves. So don't reach out to the check and wave and expect it to wave back at you and think it didn't. It's rude because it's not a check that can wave. Hi, check, how are you? It didn't wave back at me. How rude are you? It's not a waveable check. It's a monthly check. It's just a rude check. Well, maybe that too. The Democrats represent that the final vote would be by July 4th. That means that your fourth stimulus check would come in the month of July, for the month of July. In the month of August, for the month of August. Final vote by July 4th. And there you go. You can wave goodbye to the first of three parts of our fourth stimulus check updated 2021 right now. Wave goodbye to it because coming up is the second part. As the president calls the vote, it's coming up in the second part of our fourth stimulus check updated 2021 in this video. But first, here's a preview of the second half of this video in this extended evening's LA broadcast. It's the exciting fifth stimulus. A lot of breaking news today. 1, a fifth stimulus check. 2, raising up your benefits. 3rd, applying your benefits to inflation, which could hit 10% and raise your benefits up through the roof. And number 4, a real shocker that no one saw coming. That's coming up in the second half of this video. But let's get some money. If you're new to this channel, that's what I do. This is not Track My Stimulus Check channel. We don't track checks on here. So someone jumps in the live chat, in the live chat right now says, what date am I getting my fourth stimulus check? Give them a donut back because that's not what we do here. We don't track checks. We cash checks. Third stimulus has thousands, tens of thousands of dollars for you. Have you gotten it? If you haven't, get a pen and paper ready. And get a Crayola crown if that really is what you write with, so long as it matches my outfit. And get ready because I'm going to go over all that money for you right now. There's thousands of dollars available for you under third stimulus that's landing the city in this week and next week. It is rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, homeowners utilities. It's $350 billion landing locally for you. Not just all for you. What do you think this is? The Publishers Clearinghouse? And I'm Ed McMahon? No, it's for you to share. So get that pen and paper ready, a Crayola crown, because I'm going to show you where you're going to get that money. Each place has different eligibility, so if one says no, reach out to the next. They also have their own pot of money. All right, you're ready? You're going to reach out to City Hall, City Housing Authority, County Hall, County Housing Authority, State Hall, State Housing Authority. The keywords you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID. Or mortgage assistance because of COVID. You don't say words that they don't know, like artichoke. They're like, artichoke? Excuse me? What? or you know, avocado toast. Sir, this is not the diner. You reached the wrong number. You don't say stimulus either. They don't know that word. So don't say avocado toast, stimulus, or artichoke in that order. There you go. $5,000 of rent is available for you, generally about 4 to 6 months of rent. Tim got it, Linda got it. It's your turn to get it as well. And now we're turning to the next pot of money. Well, if you've gotten any money for this channel, drop in the comments because it inspires me. It inspires someone else. I've had a couple people, I think it was about 5 to 10 in the last 24 hours, send me private messages. Thank you for your wonderful messages. One viewer got $3,000 of rent. One viewer got $5,000. $5,000 for SNAP. Another one got money for utilities. If you got anything, drop in the live chat because it inspires me and it inspires other people. And what is this next pot of money? It is SNAP. Viewers in the last 7-8 days have gotten $5,000, $6,000, $7,000. Multiple viewers. Lynn Glenn also got for her son, her mom, and herself. Gail got it. What is it? It is SNAP. Money for food from Department of Agriculture. How do you get it? Reach out to Department of Agriculture. Reach out to them and they will get it for you. Eligibility is about the same as a stimulus check. How much can you get? Oh, a lot. Family of 4 in Hawaii gets upwards of $16,000 a year. Why so much money? Because of 2 executive orders, wonderful executive orders, one from Biden and one from Trump that raise your benefits up 15% between now and December. So go get it. I'm really excited for you. And there you go. About $15,000 for SNAP, about $5,000 for rent. You're killing it. And we're only 10 minutes into this video when I got more money for you right now, and it's $5,000. One viewer got it. And what is it? It is money coming back from the federal government to you. From the states via the federal government to you And let's go over the details. The federal government has identified states as overpaying you unemployment assistance and then asking you to return it back to them due to computer error. Not your computer, their computer. So the federal government has ordered the states to return the money back to you. Yes, so it's $5,000. How do you get it? Automatically to the account you're on file. How do you find out when you're going to get it? Reach out to your states for tracking information, to which they'll look at that computer that doesn't work and try to track it. They'll be like, sir, we can't track when we're going to send you back the money because the computer still doesn't work. Just a little unemployment humor there. So there you go. Now the next pot of the money is wonderful. And Margaret got it, Cod got it. Viewers continually get it. If you got it, drop in the live chat. It is money back from unemployment from the federal government, IRS, that you pay taxes on for that 2020 unemployment assistance. Let's go over how much, when, and how to track it. Let's go over the details. First, how much? Let's say you had $9,000 of unemployment assistance. You paid $5,000 taxes to IRS, of which $4,000 was the part for the unemployment assistance. You're getting back $4,000. Next, when? This month. Can you track it? Yes. Go to irs.gov, set up a username and password, and try to do a tracker or a transcript search. 70% of the time it works. It'll show the check you paid to IRS, the tax return you filed, and the check you're getting back. Oh my goodness, that is wonderful news. Can we top that wonderful news? We can, with the second of your 3 parts of your 4th stimulus check updated 2021, starting right now. And it's with the president calling the vote. OMG. Later in this video, I'm going to explain why I think he's doing it, but the only thing that's important right now is that he's called the vote. The reconciliation process has been underway for weeks. The reconciliation process, it will be done by July 4th with passage on July 4th. But you've been asking, when are we starting step 1 of that 9-step voting process? We're starting it next week. The president in Geneva said, call the vote. I'm tired of hearing about this. Call the vote for the recon. Start voting right away. I love that. It's wonderful. What also is wonderful? The president doing a major deal in England just days before he got to Geneva, anchoring forced stimulus to the edge of the finish line by removing provisions no longer needed in forced stimulus, making it easier to pass forced stimulus for the legislative Democrats in the House and Senate. I have all those details starting right now. It started back on that Friday before Memorial Day weekend. Leader Schumer said, forced stimulus is already underway. Forced stimulus will be finished by July 4th, and forced stimulus will be passed by July 4th. Wow. Now, how did we get to that point? When Jolapal, the House author of that monthly stimulus check, wrote Schumer saying in a letter, call the vote, shock on the recon. Well, I think that's sort of what the president's now saying. Well, that letter was signed by 12 House Democrats, who were among the 100-plus House Democrats who had written the president a letter a week earlier saying, we're going to be putting, Mr. President, monthly stimulus checks in the forced stimulus package. Wow. Now, that's wonderful. Can we top that? We can top that. When 7 House Democrats wrote the president a letter directly, he said, Mr. President, when we write the 4th stimulus checks, we'll be writing them monthly in the 4th stimulus package. Who are these people to say that? Well, they're on the subcommittee that's solely and exclusively responsible for writing stimulus checks in the U.S. Congress, House of Representatives. Did they write our first stimulus check? They did. Did they write our second stimulus check? They did. Did they write our third? They did. And they now say they're marking up the bill. Wow. And they say they're putting a 4th stimulus check monthly in there. Wow. Are they doing a 5th stimulus check? They are. That's coming up in the second half of this video. Yes, we're getting great. Which brings us to the second deal the president made. And I had told you, he had done something complicated on a recent Tuesday ago, and I had to slow it down for you to make it simple. So let me slow it down for you to understand how he got to today's events. Forced stimulus is paid for by the U.S. corporate tax rate being raised. What's a U.S. corporate tax rate? The rate at which corporations pay taxes in the United States. Easy breezy. But the president said he was worried to raise the U.S. corporate tax rate because companies in the United States may move overseas where the corporate tax rate may be cheaper. So he reached out to those other countries, said, raise your corporate tax rates so our businesses will move overseas. And they tentatively said, yes, good. To which the president said to insiders at the time, well, after forced stimulus is passed, then later this year, maybe around December, I'll reach out to those G7 countries and get them to sign on the dotted line about that global minimum corporate tax rate. If they do, then I'll remove provisions for forced stimulus no longer needed. Wonderful. Well, what did he do? He surprised us by doing it now. Yes, now. Last weekend, he signed into law after I gave you a tip off that he was going to do it a few days earlier. He signed into law an international agreement with those leaders of the G7 countries that the global minimum corporate tax rate would be raised right now to 15%, which anchors forced stimulus to the edge of the finish line, making it easier for those Democratic senators and House members to pass for stimulus because no longer those provisions needed about worrying about companies moving overseas. They're now in the international agreement. It is wonderful. And there you go. That is wonderful news going into next week's forced stimulus. Does it get better than that? It does. As a third forced stimulus check update part is coming up after the commercial break with big details about this stimulus and that stimulus check. But first, another thing that's even more wonderful, the volunteers. If you need help with rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, internet, reach out to the volunteers. They embody the true Purple Power spirit. If you're new to this channel, I got viewers $25 million in April of last year, saving their businesses, their homes, and also their employees' homes. But in fall of 2020, second stimulus wasn't getting passed, so I had to do something else again. So I got people fortunes of rent, utilities, $25,000, $15,000 of rent to save their homes and everything throughout the holidays before second stimulus ever became law. Well, the volunteers are back doing it again. If you've had problems finding that rent, utility, mortgage, SNAP, reach out to the volunteers. They cover all the states, and they're on the community page. Where do you find the community page? Open the description of this video. In the description of the video, you'll see an emoji, the emoji of a house. Next to that emoji of a house, a link to the community page, news.lalate.com/community. Click the link and it'll send you to the community page. Has a picture of some kitty cats. They're not your volunteers. They're just kitty cats. Lower on the page of the volunteers, separated from Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. They'll help you get that big money. But first, here's a little bit about them. And then after the commercial break, I'm back with the big exciting details about fourth stimulus and fifth stimulus in this extended, beautiful Evenings LA broadcast. Stay with me. I'll be back in 60 seconds. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.lalate.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues right now on Evenings LALATE as we go into fourth stimulus, the third part of our major update tonight, this evening, direct from Santa Monica, and then fifth stimulus with the additional fifth stimulus check and raising up your benefits. Wow, what a big extended broadcast we have coming up in the second half. But first, subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Also, like this video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. If you're just joining the broadcast, tell me where you're tuning in from and how the weather is. Let's get right into that fifth stimulus with the major breaking news about that. Number one, fifth stimulus check, yes. When? Next year, likely. Those Democrats in the House are saying to the president they're going to do a fifth stimulus check. Remember, fifth stimulus starts in September, but not out the door until finality about November-ish. So that would mean that it's hard to send out a stimulus check in December. That would mean the stimulus checks for next year. Remember, fourth stimulus this year, fifth stimulus next year. Easy breezy, wonderful news. Next, the president has dedicated $1 billion of his federal budget underway now to ramp up staffing, computer systems, and more at Social Security to ensure that your benefits checks, or any checks, including, of course, fourth and fifth stimulus checks, come now on time. This is huge news. I'm very excited about this, even though the viewers don't seem very excited about it. I had so many people talk about, and I had so many videos about third stimulus checks coming later for people on benefits. It was a huge, big problem. People's benefits, stimulus checks for beneficiaries, especially Direct Express by Comerica, came weeks, if not months later. He's trying to eliminate that, and it's wonderful news by ramping up the whole computer systems and the staffing by the new cash infusion. Then, finally, the big news as the Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell testified on Capitol Hill today about inflation. His script, of course, was not much of anything. He was not going to tip off, but here's what's going on. Everyone and their sister and brother on Wall Street says, yeah, Jerome Powell can't say certain things just yet because he doesn't want to send the market into a tizzy. But the inflation rate's actually much higher than we initially thought. If you've seen the sort of progression of my videos in recent days, I've been talking about inflation rate 2 to 6%. No longer the case. After the Consumer Price Index and the Producer Price Index yesterday was released, Wall Street insiders are all saying across broadcast news that the inflation rate now is 4%. That's high. And what do they say? That we're going higher, that we're going through a peak, a valley to a peak, that we're currently in the valley at 4%, which is very high. And then we're heading to 10%. The peak, and then we're coming back down. That peak is what's called transitory inflation rate, or temporary, meaning it's going to hit a very big peak. Well, as you turn now with me to fifth stimulus to understand how they applied that inflationary benchmark in December, you want to hope that your inflation rate hits that peak right when they apply your inflationary benchmark. Let me explain how that works starting right now. First, they're going to raise your benefit limits up. Then they're going to move the asset limit, add an inflationary benchmark, and then remove the marriage penalty and remove the income exclusion. Let me explain very simple how this works and how you should hope that timing is on your side. First, they'll raise your benefits up one time on a fifth stimulus, just one time. That's SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, survivor benefits, SSA, or multiple beneficiaries. Then every December for the next year, they'll apply a benchmark. That benchmark is going to be new. It's going to be inflation, no longer COLA. Now, this is where we go back to that analysis. They say that the inflation rate is 4% now. It's going to go higher. If they were going to apply the benchmark today, you would step up 4%, let's say that. But they say it's going much higher, and it's going to reach that peak. You have to hope it hits that peak right when they apply your benefits in benchmark in December or November. Because if it does, this is what's going to happen. Let's say it hits that peak of 10% right then. Then your benefits would raise up an additional 10%. But not just next year, lifetime. Because the way the benefits works are they are raised up based upon that benchmark and never step down. It's absolutely incredible. Next, they're going to remove the asset cap that prevents you from having more than $3,000 in hand just time to get those stimulus checks in hand. They're going to remove the income tax, the income exclusion, dating back to a 1960s law that says you can't work. Finally, you'll be able to work and stay on benefits. And they're going to remove the marriage penalty, which penalizes you from being on benefits and being married. You'll no longer fear loss of benefits or being penalized because you're a married person. People like Rob and Sandy who want to become married will no longer fear the marriage penalty. And there you go. That is fifth stimulus. Now, here's a couple of personal messages that are new about what happened today about fifth stimulus. One, there's a lot of articles out there talking about COLA later this year. Understand if you see an article talking about COLA in your benefits, it's referring to the current state, not what would happen under the law, because what we just talked about, fifth stimulus, is not law yet. They call for a vote later this year. Number two, and this one is quite important, is that this step up, if that benchmark hits an inflation rate of 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10% or more, is astronomical amount of money compared to anything Elizabeth Warren said to you. So if you are a subscriber to this channel, you should never, ever be talking about the Elizabeth Warren 2200 again, because it's this amount of money compared to this amount of money under fifth stimulus. Fifth stimulus pays an enormous amount more money. You just have to be pushing to get fifth stimulus out the door. And there you go. If you want to know everything else that you're entitled to, there's thousands of dollars you're entitled to right now, potentially, under third stimulus, or proposed under fourth or fifth stimulus. Consider becoming a member. If you're in the live chat and you're looking at people that have Purple Hawk emojis, they are members. Click the link at the pin at the top of the chat in the pinned comment. Members are sent to them daily from me, a breakdown of everything that's in the third stimulus for you to get money on. Thousands of dollars. We're not tracking checks here, we're cashing checks. Money under fourth stimulus and money under fifth stimulus. So consider becoming a member. Which brings us now to the third and final part of our fourth stimulus check update of 2021 in this extended evening's LA broadcast. I'm going to be going over 4 details tonight. First, personal message. Second, routing times. Third, false narratives. And finally, purple power. First, personal message. It's important to know, and you've been doing a good job so far, that this is not the stimulus psychic network, and I'm not Mr. Cleo. Why? Because no one anywhere, let alone on your front porch or at the grocery store or at the water cooler, should be doing psychic stimulus analysis like, do you think, I predict, I heard, what did you hear, I think, what do you think? It's not for you to think about because these are legislators. Earlier in this video, you heard them talking about marking up the bill. What does marking up the bill mean? It literally means there's a piece of paper and they're marking it up. They're changing things. They could have the eraser at the end of the pen and they could be erasing your stimulus check. Or they could be using the other side of the pen and changing the number from 2 to 12 stimulus checks. So when they are legislating, they are making edits and changes. So there's no place or time for anyone to be predicting the future like their psychic stimulus analysis. We have 3 emojis for this. Not bill yet, not law yet, and donut. So if you see anything like that, use the emojis. And if you hear anyone saying, so does that mean we get our first stimulus check on July 4th? Donut. You should not be doing that because it hasn't become a finality. You need to be pushing. Which brings us next to the importance to understand the entire voting process. You've been great on this one. You've understood that the final voting process would end on step 9, July 4th. You also understand how the time frame is so tight. You also have been wondering, when are we going to start? The president has now answered that, starting next week. One of the viewers on Noontime LA today asked a great question. I answered a few days ago, but let me answer it again. They look at the calendar and they look at these 9 steps and they say, wait a second, these number of days, 9 steps. They can do more than 1 step per day. That is very obvious, with the exception of the vote-a-rama, which I think is required by the Constitution to be 48 hours. But they can, or a day and a half. They can do more than 1 step per day. So let's go over those steps. Step 5, 8, and 7 are the most important ones. Step 1, the procedural of the bill is called for a vote in the subcommittee of the House. Step 2, the House floor votes on the procedural bill. Step 3, the Senate votes on the procedural bill. Step 4, the President signs into law the procedural bill. At that point, the tow truck is passed over the finish line. Time to do the tow hitch. That's the substantive bill. Here we go. Step 5, the House subcommittee, which has been marking up the bill, finishes marking up the substantive big bill, which potentially could have the monthly stimulus checks in there. That's step 5. Step 6, the House floor votes on the substantive bill. Step 7 and 8, here we go. The 2-day vote-a-rama in the Senate. The senators have 3 options. If they got a stimulus check provision from the House in the bill, they can leave it alone. Or 2, they can modify it. If the House bill number 3 has no stimulus checks in there, they can add it in there. Finally, 9, the president signs into law. Which brings us then to, why did the president really crack the whip in the last 24 hours, saying, start voting next week, I'm tired of this? It's likely because he was peeved because of the fake narratives that I have been warning you about that started on Friday as soon as he got on a plane to leave the United States. The president had no problem meeting with Shelley Moore Capito, who clearly had some authority to meet with the president as a GOP representative, but he did not clearly like the notion of Rob Portman, who I accidentally said is Ron Portman in earlier videos today. He did not like the idea potentially of Rob Portman appearing on broadcast media and talking about as a negotiator for the fourth stimulus package. First of all, it's important to understand that the fake narrative started on Friday, and the fake narrative was quickly shot down. But shortly after the fake narrative was shot down, and I warned you about the fake narrative, certain people who had been shot down were coming back and trying it again. I told you they would. What's going on here? A series of elected officials who use legislative processes for their own political gains. What are they doing this for? Number one, they're trying to do it to raise funds for their reelection campaign. Or number two, they're trying to use it to raise funds for running for a higher office. Or number three, a book deal. Or number four, a broadcast media deal. And that is what they're doing. They don't intend to actually get something done. Who are the actors? Or who are the false narrators? They are the problem creators, came out of the woodworks last Friday, had no one's authority to do anything and have never done anything for anyone. A Democratic senator out of Arizona, the protagonista, Mitt Romney, and perhaps the worst actor of the bunch, Rob Portman. Here's an example of why Rob Portman is potentially what peeved the president the most. After the GOP and the Democrats universally came out and said, these people don't represent us, they have no authority to negotiate on us, and they're not even doing things that we would agree to, Rob Portman continued to run his mouth. And what did he talk about, and why did he talk about it? And who is Rob Portman? Rob Portman is an exiting GOP leader who is out the door from the Senate. He's leaving. Understand the implications of anyone leaving from the Senate. Bernie Sanders did not want to take a position in the White House because the Democrats didn't want to lose a Democratic seat. Imagine Rob Portman retiring as a Republican and putting his seat at jeopardy for a Democrat to take. Not particularly liked among Republicans. Certainly not liked among Democrats. Why? Because in 2020, in May of 2020, July of 2020, when the pandemic was ravaging Americans and they were losing their homes and their cars and their businesses because they had no income, he said, get back to work. You're lazy. I'm cutting off your FPC. Awful. Awful. So this is not particularly a person that the president would see eye to eye on anything. And that's probably why the president did that. To which it's important for you to understand with false narratives. Expect the false narratives to continue. The president has put his foot down, his shoe, his boot, his cowboy, his clog, whatever he wears, and made very clear, I don't want to hear about this anymore. We're calling the vote on Monday. Of course, you can look at the calendar. That includes today and tomorrow. So they're just like, stop it. Which is very refreshing. If only he had done that a little bit earlier, we would have been a lot more relaxed. Which brings us finally to purple power. It's important to push. And in noontime LALATE, a non-subscriber was in the live chat, and I put that person in timeout. The viewer said, why should I push? As almost not seeking information, but as sort of a disparaging remark. Why should I push? Because they will not give it to you. Why should I push? Because they may not give it to you because they don't think you need it, because they haven't heard from you. It's very simple. It's about as simple as it can be. They do not hear from you. They hear no one talking about, they hear no one of the electorate asking for a stimulus check. They may not give it to you. It's as simple as that. These elected officials have a pen and a paper in front of them, and the pen has an ink on one side and an eraser on the one side. They can erase something in a heartbeat, and they can also add it on. But it's important to understand that 2021 right now is not 2020. They potentially did not need to hear from you in June of last year. They knew you were getting desecrated financially by the pandemic. Right now, they don't know everyone's story. They don't know a lot of people's stories in their respective states. So they don't know if you have debt piled up. They don't know how bad the unemployment situation last year has put you financially behind. They don't know that as your states are ending FPC, how badly that's financially putting you in a sick of sense. So when they hear from you, it gives them enlightenment, because that's what they're there for. They are inspired by your information. They are there to represent your interests and other states' interests as well. And so every time they hear from you, they act accordingly. So go on social media and hashtag MSC, hashtag Purple Power, tag Democratic House members, tag Democratic senators. Those are the people giving you the stimulus checks. Those are the people writing the stimulus check legislation. You want to tag them. Also use the old-fashioned method, which is pick up the phone and call them on the phone. Call their Washington office and be professional and respectful. The more people they hear, the better they respond to it. It's important to understand that legislators often don't do something exactly like they say. They've had proposals that never became bills. They had bills that they never called to vote. And they've had laws that never sent out money. So you need to push Purple Power. This is the opportunity to push. This is the time to push. And this is the place to push right now. When it comes to August, too late to push. Now is the time to push. And with that, stay here because next up is Overnight's Crypto. Stay with this video. It'll automatically take you to Overnight's Crypto, our hit show that runs for 15 hours, and viewers are loving it because they're going from basic to pro in just a few days. Very easy breezy. I make it simple and simple for you across the board. But first, subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like this video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power Cow, VIP. Stay informed, stay focused, have a beautiful evening. I hope the weather cools off where you are. Hit that like button, and maybe it'll cool off where you are as well. Stay informed, stay focused, and stay with LALATE for more.